for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
S-I-C-K,
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. CF Montreal Talk.
Here's the chance. Here's the chance. They've got the goal. Absolutely incredible. Cameron Porter is the goal to send Montreal Impact into the CONCACAF Champions League semi-final.
The sickest CF Montreal podcast. Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. Playground. Your premier gaming destination. Complete Striker. And Enov Sport.
Collaborer avec Enov Sport, une compagnie d'ici afin de dynamiser l'apprentissage et la pratique du sport pour tous et partout.
Les différents produits permettent de rester actif tout en développant sa confiance, son autonomie et sa technique. Des produits efficaces, progressifs et personnalisés avec le logo de votre école.
Enov Sport, pour tous et partout.
It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk. It is 1 minute past 10 o'clock Eastern on this Tuesday morning. CF Montreal is set to play the Canadian Championship quarterfinal, leg one in Hamilton versus Forge FC in about an hour. I have some news. You all saw it by now on social media. Olivier Renard and CF Montreal have parted ways. I don't have all details this morning. I don't have all answers. I'm going on a couple of calls. I'm going on connecting a few dots. I'm going to give you some opinion in all of this. And we're going to talk about Olivier Renard's tenure. I'm going to start with what I know. And this is what I know. About a week ago, I heard from someone very close to CF Montreal that it was all but over between the two sides. And I said, well, geez, I know it's not an easy place to work, but who in their right mind would want to part ways with Olivier Renard? And why would Olivier Renard want to part ways after signing an extension back in June? So just to give you a little history, of course, you know, Olivier Renard joined CF Montreal in September of 2019. He was a sporting director for Antwerp, and he comes over to CF Montreal, and actually was a sports consultant for Royal Antwerp. And he comes over to CF Montreal, and he joins them as their technical director or sporting director in September of 2019. And, you know, he extended his deal last year, June of 2023. And as a matter of fact, they told us that he wasn't even going to have a contract. He was going to be a permanent employee. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at a press release that came out less than 1 year ago, less than a year ago, or more than a year ago. Pardon me. It was in June. Let's see this. We have it. We don't have it. All right. Okay. I'll try and get it for you. All right. As we're doing this all very, very quickly here this morning, but I'll get it for you. Okay. So here we go. We should have it up in about a minute. Okay. Anyway, we'll get to that press release in just a second. So I was told this, and I said, no, it can't be. It can't be. But I said, geez, I think the source knows what they're talking about. So I placed a couple of calls, and it appears that word has filtered out throughout the locker room, and even as early as Saturday, maybe even on Friday. But I can tell you that going into the game on Saturday, some players were aware that Olivier Renard and CF Montreal, it was over. Their parting ways. And I can tell you that coaches were available. And I can tell you that more and more players started to talk to more and more players, and more coaches started to talk to more and more coaches. And now it's It's basically made its way through the team and the staff. And they're in Hamilton once again to play Forge FC at 11 a.m. And Olivier Renard is not there, nor was he there in Nashville on Saturday night. Let's get back to Olivier Renard for a second. There's no perfect sporting director, folks. And you're not going to hear me tell you that Olivier Renard is perfect, because he's not. There's no perfect sporting director. And once again, his title most recently was VP and Chief Sporting Officer. This is a special place to work. If you talk to people who work there or have worked there, every person does the work for 2 or 3 people. The wages are not incredibly high either for staff, employees, players, team, compared to the rest of the league. Very difficult to operate in. The chain of command is very difficult. He gets here. He has with all due respect to the coach, a coach who's basically suggested to him. New president, new coach, big name. They really didn't have any stars, so the coach became, the head of their marketing campaign, even though they don't have really too many special marketing campaigns. That doesn't work out. The team goes through a logo change. It goes through a rebranding. Obviously, not his idea. Some dissension from the fans. A disaster. Until logic kicks in at one point and they say, okay, you know what? This logo didn't work, but we have to find a way to incorporate the old name, even if it's a nickname or even if it's somewhere on a jersey or whatever and all that stuff. His coach leaves during COVID and he promotes Wilfred Nancy. A courageous move. Some would say it was probably an easy move because with the budget that he's given to hire a coach, chances are you almost have to hire someone in-house or someone who hasn't proven themselves or, someone who's looking for a second chance or maybe somebody from, he hires Wilfred Nancy. He sits down with Wilfred Nancy, says, listen, Will, with the budget we have, I don't know how competitive we're going to be. I don't know how many players we're going to be able to go out and get. But this is what I want. I want you to give the fans an attractive style of football. A 3-4-1-2, a 3-4-2-1, but we're going to play with 3 center backs. We're going to play with wing backs. We're going to build out of the back. This is how we're going to play. And if it means, that it could cost us some points early on in the standings or whatever it is, I want us to stick with this. I don't want us to abandon it. And Will says, I like what you're telling me because, I want to play an attractive style of football too. I believe in what you're telling me. I believe in that playing philosophy. Let's go for it. And they go for it. Early on, there's some growing pains and you miss the playoffs and some are saying, no, you can't play this way. But it starts to get more and more attractive. It starts to get more and more attractive. And not only does it start to get more and more attractive, it's producing results to the surprise of everyone. With the lowest budget, they're winning games. So much so that they end up second in the East and third in the league. And they make the playoffs. But 3/4 of the way into the season, after a loss versus Sporting Kansas City, the owner goes down to the locker room, talks to the coach in a fashion that the coach didn't like, according to those who were close to the situation and had a chance to witness it. Not too many people would to be talked to like that. Not when you're supposed to be a valued employee, not when you're a coach. Coach says, don't talk to me like that. If you talk to me the right way, we can have a discussion. If you're going to talk to me this way, it's not going anywhere. In front of a member of the media who had a chance to witness it, obviously, not knowing that he was there, the owner says to the president, Renard there, tomorrow you got to fire this coach. Well, the president and the sporting director obviously did not want to fire the coach. He's the best coach in the league. The coach, though, says, you know what? This is not a place I want to work at any longer. Not if I'm going to be treated like that. As much as the president and the sporting director tried to retain Wilfred Nancy, as he said he has his values, his mind was made up, he left. He left. He goes to the Columbus Crew. In his first season, they play an amazing brand of football. And they win the MLS Cup, deservedly so, in the final. They were much better than LAFC. And he shows once again he is the best coach in the league. And you're seeing it again this year in the Champions. His club is in the final. And his club recognized that he's the best coach in the league. And before other teams can come calling for his services, hold on a second. We know what we got here. We're extending your deal, and we're opening up the bank. And instead of getting paid pennies on the dollar, he's making millions now, as he deserves to be making. During that year with Wilfred Nancy, some players were really able to show what they're made of and what they can do. I'm thinking of Mihailovic, who was acquired by Olivier Renard. I'm thinking of Kone, who Olivier Renard saw him for half an hour, and said, whoa, this guy's coming up to the pro team and he's here. And then a year and a half later, he sold the player for about 8 million euros or whatever it is. And the player's playing in second division England right now. And he's getting paid according to his talent, and good for him. That player that I'm talking about, the owner had a chance to see him for 2 years. Because for 2 years, he played on his son's team. Never once did he think he was going to become a pro player. But it's only normal. I mean, one's an owner and one's a sporting director for an eye for identifying talent. It's only normal. Alistair Johnston was another player that was brought in from Olivier Renard. Olivier Renard did exactly what the owner asked him to do. Bring in players at little to nothing. Keep the salary at the bare minimum. Be the lowest paying club in the league. Try and develop players. It's not an easy thing to do when you have the lowest paying club in the league, because usually you look better when you play close to better players, when you play with better players. And they sold Mihailovic for, I think it was 6 million. I think they sold Kone for 8 million. I think they sold Johnston for 2 or 3 million. I could be wrong with a couple of numbers here. He made the owner a lot of money. Now he has to replace his coach. And he got the choice of his next coach wrong, Hernan Losada. But if it was up to him, he would have stayed with his previous coach for a very long time. But unfortunately, things happen. Well, in Montreal, they happen. Despite a coach who promised to play the way Olivier Renard wanted to play, who promised to play that way and didn't, they were 2 points out of a playoff spot. And this whole thing went sour when Olivier Renard stood up in the locker room and said to Hernan Losada, stop talking to the players the way you talk to them. Stop treating the players the way you're treating them. Because if we're going to play that game, I'm going to do the same thing to you. The players appreciated it very much. If you recall, Sam Piet came out after a loss, I believe it was in Atlanta, and basically said, tactically, we looked like we had no idea. And it looked like the other team had one or two more players on the field with us. And all times, at times, he goes, I had to stop and count the amount of players that we were and the amount of players that they were. We just felt like we were being outnumbered. That was Piet standing up for his teammates and taking a shot at the coach. And then over the next couple of days, there's a little bit of, well, I didn't really say that. They said what they said. And Renard said what he said. And the players appreciated Piet taking a stance, and the players appreciated Renard taking a stance. So at the end of the season, and it became very apparent at the year-end presser a year ago that CF Montreal were done with Hernan Losada, the quest was on for a new coach. And while this is going on, once again, let's get that press release now that came out June 2019. So yeah, it's 11 months ago, right? Is it June? Let me put on the glasses. June 9th. CF Montreal announced the signing of a new agreement with Olivier Renard extending for an indefinite period his mandate as head of his technical team. He will now serve as vice president and chief sporting officer and will sit on the organization's executive committee. He will continue to report directly to Gabriel Gervais. As part of his duties, Olivier remains responsible for recruiting, signing, and supervising players, as well as managing the first team's salary mass. The entire technical team, which includes the coaching staff, technical staff, therapy staff, and doctors, will continue to report to him. He will also continue to oversee the activities of the club's academy. Next. The agreement with Olivier reflects a common desire to perpetuate the collaboration initiated in 2019 and puts him at the heart of the corporate structure that we are putting in place, said CF Montreal's chairman of the board of directors, Joey Saputo. I have always been convinced that he should stay with us, and more specifically, as an employee and an executive of the organization. Since joining us, Olivier has largely contributed to the development of his team, his vision, his leadership, his philosophy, his intelligence, his flair for targeting new talent and developing players will take our club even further. This is 11 months ago. Joey got it right 3 years ago when he hired Olivier as technical director, said CF Montreal president CEO Gabriel Gervais. Olivier shares the organization's values, and his appointment is part of a long-term perspective while promoting the stability needed for the club's sporting operations. I'm very excited to have him on my management team now, alongside the vice president, chief financial officer, vice president, chief human resources officer, and eventually the person who will serve as vice president of marketing and communications officer once hired. This new employment contract gives me the professional stability that I was looking for my family and myself. We love Montreal, and we feel good here. I fully support the organization's mission and project regarding its role within the community, in particular the promotion of Quebec soccer culture and the development of local talent from the youth to professional level, said Olivier Renard. What happened? This is June 9th, 2023. What happened? One of the owners says, this guy's amazing. Been amazing. He's a leader. An eye, developing talent, scouting talent, the work he's doing for the club, the philosophy, the vision. He's great. The president says, oh yeah, Joey, you got it right 3 years ago when you hired this guy, Joey. You got it right, Joey. This guy is truly great, and you know what? I want him to work with me and my team. This is our guy. He says, I love it here. I love Montreal. This is the vision that they have. I have no problem. I'm going to do it. And he did it. Was he perfect? No. Try to find someone who's going to be able to do the job in the parameters that are now. Based on a couple of calls, I can tell you this. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Some players started to find out as early as Saturday. Some coaches found out as early as Saturday. Maybe even Friday, but I know Saturday for sure. And now everybody within the club knows. I'm going to also tell you this. The players on Saturday, they were devastated. The ones that knew. The coaches that knew were devastated. If you watch the game and you watch the body language and you watch the presser at the end of the game, I think you could read into that. So what's happened lately? Because I asked you what happened. Well, what's happened lately is Matthew Choinière, everything this club is supposed to be about. Quebec talent, entering the pre-academy, going to the academy, going through all the steps, making your way all the way up, making the first team, getting minutes, getting more minutes, scoring goals, scoring more goals, getting assists, getting more assists. Team MVP last year, 5 goals, 5 assists. First homegrown player in the history of the club to make it to the All-Star game. Makes $277,000 per year. Bunch of defenders they have on this team make more. Sam Piet, who plays next to him in the midfield, makes $200,000 more than that. Wanyama, who's on the bench, for the most part, makes 8 times more than that. Strikers make more than that. 10s make more than that. Wing backs make more than that. A bunch of players on this team make more than that. You can say whatever you want about Olivier Renard. He does what's right. Without knowing this for a fact, I'd be willing to bet that if all of Montreal knows that Matthew Choinière is underpaid at $277,000, I'd be willing to bet that Olivier Renard knows it too. If all of Montreal knows that whether you like the way Choinière plays or don't, because he won't be everyone's cup of tea, but the fact remains that he's the most versatile player they have. No other player on the team can play 5 different positions, 6, 8, sometimes 10, 7, and 11. He plays some better than others, yes, but take other players on the team and make them play 5 different positions, and overall, he'll play them better. Once again, he's the kid who entered the pre-academy. He entered in 2011. He's made all his way up the ranks. He should be a poster boy now and going forward for this team. And there are players who play his position around the league. One of them is Jonathan Osorio, who's basically Toronto FC's Matthew Choinière in terms of playing in the midfield and entering the academy in 2011 and making his way up the ranks. He makes $1.4 million. There's other players in the league that make 1.2, 1 million, 900, 800, 700, 600, 550. You put Matthew Choinière on the trading block, probably every team in the league is going to want to have him. And even teams that probably have other players in that position, knowing that he's such a tremendous value, will probably trade some of their players to acquire him to make room for him at that salary. And they'll bump him up right away. Right away, they'll bump him up. Eyes closed. He'll get the $600,000 that has been leaked that he's looking for. So the tweet comes out from Tom Bogart a couple of weeks back. Matthew Chouanière, contract talks have stalled. Wants to be paid more money. Team doesn't want to know nothing. He wants out from his boyhood club. A couple of days later, Christine Roger with Radio-Canada probably has the same source. Doesn't matter the sources. She comes out with exact numbers. The last offer from the club was $350,000. He wants $600,000. And they haven't talked in months and months and months and months and months. When I ask you what happened, when I try and connect the dots, I'm going to tell you what I think happened. And this is where I don't have all the answers. What I think happened is it goes back several weeks ago when Coccaro's out for 2 to 3 months. Martinez is out for at least 2 months. Olivier Renard has a brand new coach. They obviously want to do the unthinkable with the lowest budget in the league, and they want to make the playoffs. He wants to give his coach a helping hand. I'm convinced of that. There's no one who's going to take it out of my mind. If I know that they need a striker when they're two more, you know it, and everyone's family member knows it, Olivier Renard must know it. His coach must have been saying, please, Olivier, and he must be saying, I want to help you, but it only leads me to believe that the but is that he didn't get the green light. That for whatever reason, somebody said no. That for whatever reason, he wasn't able to do it. In businesses, normal businesses, great businesses, businesses that thrive, when you put your people in charge, you make them take control and you give them carte blanche. Jeff Molson wants to be made aware of everything that Gordon and Hughes are doing. But when they decide to do it, they do it. This is me connecting the dots and me speculating at my very best. But I'm pretty good at this, by the way. And it's a club I know like the back of my hand. Not being able to add players when the MLS transfer window closed for the first time. Not being able to give Chouanière the money he's worth. Nowhere to be seen. Not an interview. None from the president either. Nobody wanting to tackle this. Why? Because it's a hot potato right now. Everything's been a hot potato. This is what I think's going to happen. You ready? And I could be wrong because I've been wrong before. This is what I think's going to happen. First of all, I think that when this game is over, if anyone's going to be asked about it, I think there's going to be a no comment or maybe even a denial that the two sides have parted ways. Believe me, it's over. It's over. Now, when will they make it official? I don't know. Knowing the club, the way I know the club, Canadian Championship game today, Messi coming into town, still some tickets to be sold. I would imagine that the fan base is going to be really upset about this because once again, it's instability. Once again, it's turnover. Once again, it's someone who was trying to build something here. And once again, you got to start all over again. So it wouldn't surprise me if the plan was to stay away from all of this and just, you have the game versus Inter Miami on Saturday, Messi and friends, boom, boom, boom. It's over. Maybe next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, something would have been announced. Maybe they're still going to do that. Maybe no. Maybe they'll tackle it this week. I don't know. This is what I think might happen. This is a PR disaster. This is a PR nightmare. The Choinière situation is a PR disaster. It's a PR nightmare. And right now, Choinière is in the driver's seat. And right now, CF Montreal have lost the game of public opinion. And I think pretty much anyone who's anyone knows and realizes that Olivier Renard, the whole Matthew Choinière situation, it's not him. It's not. He gave players more money when he had to give them more money. He cut them when he had to cut them. He gave them more money when he had to give them more money. He knows what's right. He knows what's wrong. He would have given it to Choinière. In soccer, you keep your players happy. Regardless of what their contract is, if they're not happy and they want out, you almost have to accommodate the player. So I get back to what I think is going to happen. And I'll leave you with this. They're losing the PR game, and they're losing it badly. I wouldn't be surprised if once this news is official that they've parted ways, that they'll bring in somebody that people will like. And that person will have to operate within what I think have been the parameters over the last little while here, is that you don't fully have carte blanche. And you're doing the job, but you're not really able to do the job to the most of your ability, or you're not able to execute and complete the job that you want to do. That's number one. Number two, Choinière. Does that mean he's gone? He could be. But I wouldn't be surprised if, knowing they've lost the PR battle, that they would accommodate him. And they'll probably hear something like, well, he had the rest of this year on his contract and he had a club option for next year. So, we fully realized that he deserved the raise and we're willing to give it to him. And we just wanted to wait till the end of the contract. But you know what? Here it is. We're giving it to him. You see? We wanted to give it to him all along. If you believe that, you're the most naive fan base in the history of the world. When I have more information, I'll give it to you. I don't know if they're going to make it official today, in the next couple of days, or next week. I don't know if they'll comment. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But if they don't confirm it, I just have. Olivier Renard and CF Montreal, it's over. They've parted ways. The players know, the coaches know, the staff knows, everyone knows, and now you know. For your CF Montreal news, SickPod CFMTL on Twitter, on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. I ask you, is this a joke? Well, unfortunately, it's not. This is very much real. But in the end, yeah, it's a joke. It has been for a while. Some things just never change. Have a good day, everyone. Enjoy the game at 11.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.